I'm Wendy Montroy, and this is Turtle Tea with TTPG. This is a very special episode celebrating International Turtle and Tortoise Week, or ITTW, which this year is April 20th through 24th. I'm joined by Russ Gurley, the founder of TTPG, and Ashley Rademacher. She is the Director of Animal Care and Education at ZooMed Labs. Thank you both so much for joining me.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. Let's start with, what is ITTW?
So International Turtle and Tortoise Week, I guess about 15 years ago, the TTPG board and I wanted to add another sort of education component to what we were doing. We were doing a really good job of, creating the Batagur and the Turtle Conference in Phoenix in November. We felt like we were on the right track with those, and we kind of wanted to bring in some more young people to the turtle loving crowd. And then also we wanted to do something that was kind of different time of the year too. We have this kind of conference in the fall. So we were looking at something in the spring, and we kind of had an aha moment with Earth Day. And so we decided to create this Turtle and Tortoise education and awareness, conservation awareness program around Earth Day. And our goal was to reach out to young people through schools, mainly homeschooling, scouts, any sort of young people group that we could track down. So we started small. And just kind of advertising on social media. And we had teachers, around the country, but not a ton of them, reaching out to us for materials. And we would send out, puzzles and games, and also, little articles or bits of information about turtle conservation to kind of throw in there and make it a nice little packet. But it was, it was pretty small until we got approached by ZooMed, who is one of our biggest donors for TTPG. And through them, we met up with Ashley, and she has kind of taken the reins of ITTW and turned it into something that's really big and really something we're very proud of.
That's great. So, Ashley, can you describe a little bit about what the program is today? I know that people can sign up, and when you sign up, you get pretty much instant access to digital downloads. And I guess if you're far enough ahead, you can actually get materials sent to you.
Yeah. So we've got on the ZooMed website, we have a sign up page, and there's links to that on the TTPG site, as well as we promote it through social media, newsletters, and things like that. And we encourage any educator really to register there. And then what we do is we put together a package of, the idea is printed materials, but we also have PDFs of everything so that you'll get it right away. Or for people who are trying to have a smaller carbon footprint, or, the distance is too far to really ship things, or you have the ability to print the materials yourself for your class. We realize that a lot of teachers don't have these resources to be able to print a lot of things. So that's why actually Gary Bagnall, the president of ZooMed, insisted that we continued offering those printed materials, even though we're, going more and more into the digital format of things. But he said, lots of schools can't print this stuff. They just don't have those resources. So we should keep sending out printed materials. So we're very grateful to him for insisting on that. But we have put together a lesson plan that's designed initially for students in between 2nd and 6th grades. But I've seen, anywhere from preschool through college professors that are requesting and using these materials. So it can really be kind of catered towards any age group. But there's things in there about what is a scientific name, and trying to understand how, we keepers refer to our animals and why is it important, and all the different parts of turtles and tortoises, different problems that they're facing in the wild, and why we really need to spend time thinking about their preservation and conservation, ideas of things that you can do. There's a whole Turtle and Tortoise vocabulary lesson, because when you go to these conferences and you hang out with turtle people, you kind of realize that there is a whole list of terms that we use that most people would probably not really understand.
Yep.
And then some links to other resources where people can learn more about turtles and tortoises and things like that. And we put together this whole lesson plan, and then materials like word searches, crossword puzzles. There's a logic puzzle, coloring sheets. So again, for all different kinds of age groups. And then we'll include stickers and posters and things like that. And then we ship those out to, we typically print about 5,000.
Wow.
And we serve, on average, I think we usually get about 120 unique registrations that are going to, like Russ said, classrooms, homeschool organizations, scouts, 4-H, museums, aquariums and zoos, just anyone who really wants to, learn about and spend some time focusing on turtles and tortoises. And it's been pretty fun. And then in addition to that, throughout the week that we have designated International Turtle and Tortoise Week, we put together a daily newsletter that has information about different species, different conservation efforts. The last couple of years, we've had a really fun segment that's like where to find turtles and tortoises. So it's from the Turtle Lovers Guidebook, which is really fun.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's an awesome
Tony's
book.
Yeah, it's really great. And so, and then when we use literature like that, we link to the site where those can be purchased, where people can learn more about that. And then Russ has been sending us Badager articles, so we're able to incorporate that. And if anybody is unfamiliar with the Badager, it's the yearly publication that the TTPG produces. And there's incredible information about captive husbandry, different conservation efforts, all like everything turtle and tortoise. And it's just such excellent content. So it was a really nice way to be able to share that out a little bit with the public and people who are wanting to learn.
Yeah, so I would say even if you're not working with kids or an educator and you're just a fan of turtles and tortoises, I mean, I signed up. I can't wait to get your newsletters, and It's really cool. And it's such a great way to educate and inspire the next generation because, we're all turtle and tortoise lovers, but if we're not working and reaching out to kind of replace ourselves one day, then who's going to be there to care about them? So I love that you're doing this.
Thank you. Yeah, we've done some contests in classrooms also to see if we could get teachers to share with us what they did with the materials. Mm-hmm. And it's been so fun to see how creative some of these teachers have gotten with, we provide them with just a little jumping off point, here's information, here's where you can learn more. I had one teacher that wrote back and shared that they had it was like older, I think they were probably 4th or 5th grade students. They had each been assigned a research project and they had to choose a species. So they chose a turtle or tortoise species. They had to research that animal and then give a presentation in front of their class. So here they're learning how to research. They're learning how to put together, a little research paper, and then public speaking. And they had to do it as the scientist that discovered the animal. And so they had to share their observations of the habitat and how they came across this animal, the observations of the animal itself. And it was so cool. She shared a couple of examples of these presentations that the kids did with me. And I was just like, man, this is so cool. She just really ran with it. And I thought, wow, what a great idea. And then we've had some that made Turtle and Tortoise Week, kind of take over their school. They did a bake sale and they
Oh,
earned a
wow.
bunch of money and then donated that to one of the local, I think it was like a box turtle conservation organization or something that was like around where they were at. And so it was like they just sort of again took the inspiration from what we had shared and turned it into something really big. So it's really neat to see.
Yeah, that's incredibly cool. That's got to be just so heartwarming to hear that
Yeah.
people are taking it and running with it like that.
Yeah, really fun.
So, this year's is upon us quickly. If people want to help out for next year, what types of things are you looking for?
Well, Ashley is the expert, but we're always looking for content. We try not to recycle the same material year after year because we have a lot of the teachers that come back to us year after year, and they don't want the same. Even though the kids are different, we kind of try to mix it up a little bit. So, and I think one of our goals is to get some more content for the older kids, high school and college. It's just tough. It's just like producing the Batager Journal. It's hard to get writers. We're all busy with our animals and work and kids and families, and so that would help out a lot if we could find people to help with material, and that includes artistic pieces of art. Adeline Robinson has been very generous and created lots of great Turtle and Tortoise stickers for us, and so we are. Yeah, so we're always looking for material and for artwork. Like I said, Adeline Robinson has been very generous and donated art for stickers and T-shirts and things like that, and for posters for classrooms. And I'll let Ashley. What else can you use as far as producing the packets? But Ashley, what can you use to make the packets bigger and better next year?
Just really any kind of original content or activities. Whether it's something that's written up that we include in the printed materials, or if people have really wonderful information, even if it's video format or anything like that you want to share with us, we can always link it from our newsletters and things like that, just so that, we're giving teachers and everyone, you definitely don't have to be a teacher to participate. And I should clarify that when you register, that's for the printed materials and the activities and everything, but also the newsletters, but the whole mailing list of ZoomEd and probably TTPG as well will receive, whether you've registered or not. You're gonna get Turtle and Tortoise content. So information that we can share with that as well. Like I said, videos, crafts for kids. If somebody has a good writing prompt, that you would want to think that we could incorporate that, again, to inspire teachers to incorporate turtles and tortoises into their classroom and into their lesson plan, is just, very helpful.
Yeah, and I'll say this too. I mean, I don't want to grovel too much, but it's very expensive. And I'm not even talking about what ZoomEd does, and with Ashley's the amount of time that she and her colleagues at ZoomEd spend on this. But it's printing these colored pages, the coloring pages, and the puzzles and the stickers is many thousands of dollars a year, which we're happy to do because we have a lot of great donors. But that is something we're always that's the same with the Batager Journal, the conference. Everything's gotten really expensive, especially printed material over the last few years, especially.
Shipping.
So we're always open for any kind of support. If you're not an artist or a content creator or a writer, there's lots of other ways you can help us too.
And it's not constrained to U.S. only. I think, how many countries did you end up having participate?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got at least 15 other countries at this point. And every year we have new, people from new countries. We've served most of the states. And there might be one or two that we haven't had somebody, reach out. But most of the United States have all received printed materials, and we get a lot of people that come back year after year, which to me just
That's
means
great.
that they're finding quality and, and value in what they receive. So
Nice.
So you have to let us know what states we haven't hit yet, and we'll see if we can get TTPG members to drum up some.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, do you have any of the numbers from last year as far as how many packets and how many downloads? And pretty exciting.
So last year we had 120 registrations. I think I had 160 this year. I'll have to go back and check.
Ooh.
But we do 5,000 printed copies, and we've had over 5,000 digital downloads in addition to that. Yeah. And so those the way that we track it is we just ask people to say how many students they're serving. But sometimes I know that the number is a lot greater than that because they're going to some really big like zoos and aquariums and things like that as well. And they'll be like we'll say, oh yeah, I want 100. And I'm like, yeah, you're having more than 100 people come in and use these.
So they're probably taking those packets, and then if they have the resources, then making lots of copies and sharing with kids, probably at their petting zoos and other things.
Also, our packages, I think it's like 6 or 7 printed pages. So it's not like we're sending out 5,000 pages. We're sending out 5,000 sets of like 7 pages. And so a lot of these kids, especially at like a, zoo or aquarium or something like that, they're probably going to do 1 or 2 of these activities, not all 7 of them, when they're sitting there. So they're, these are getting broken up and split out to a lot of different people.
So, and either of you can answer this, what do you think is the most rewarding or challenging part of coordinating a global awareness week like this?
I'll do rewarding. You do challenging. So rewarding, I always think, I grew up in a little town in Oklahoma, and I would come home from school and throw my backpack down and go down to the creek and wade up and down up to my ankles in mud. And there are a lot of kids that can't do that. These packets are hopefully inspiring kids that don't have access to a local pond or creek. City kids or maybe the only turtles they see is at the local zoo. So I think as much information as we can, that we can get them as far as conservation and just what turtles do in nature and what we do as conservationists and private breeders to make more turtles for people. So anyway, that to me is a very rewarding part is just reaching kids all over and maybe inspiring some of them to be weirdos like us someday.
The challenging part, the challenges are all pretty fun too. Like coming up with the content to include planning ahead and, making sure that we have all of our materials ready to go. And honestly, like the amount of space that we have for physically like putting all this together is a little tight sometimes. So I'll have pallets of printed material and we're just kind of climbing around, dancing through, trying to put these packages together. And but we're very lucky at ZooMed to have a lot of support from Gary. He's one of the biggest turtle and tortoise nerds that there is and really wants to support, getting young people into the hobby and having an understanding of, an appreciation for these animals. So he's really made it very, very much possible to do this. And so
Gary has supported us. Gary and ZooMed have supported us since the first day. Since the first day we kind of launched, he said, I want to be a part of it. I was a turtle boy when I was little, and they have just done, they support the conference and the Batager and just any projects. We just reach out to Gary and ZooMed and they say, yep, we're in. So that's been really nice. That's
great. Well, you guys have any final thoughts before we wrap up for tonight?
No, I just thank you Wendy, for everything you do for Turtle Tea and for all your other support of all of our other projects, the Batager, and we're 100% volunteer organization, and as we grow bigger and bigger, it's volunteers like you and Ashley and the others, Michael and James and everybody that makes this work.
Anything to add,
get
Ashley?
excited for
it's coming up.
ITTW. It's coming up. We're almost there.
Yeah.
Just go to,
and if you
say again, go to the ZoomEd website or to ttpg.org and
sign
and
up for the newsletters and check out the learning materials, and also follow on social media. So, because we'll have posts throughout that whole week, and we'll share, and TTPG probably will as well.
Yeah, and I'll make sure to include all the links in the show notes so that everyone can find it.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you both so much for being here tonight. I really appreciate both of you. And thank you guys for listening. We hope you'll join us this year in celebrating International Turtle and Tortoise Week. Sign up at zoomed.com or ttpg.org. If you have any content to share, please reach out to Ashley at zoomed.com. A big thank you to Dr. Tony Monahan, the author of Turtle Lover's Guidebook, for allowing us to share content from his book. Tony's book is now available on ZoomEd's online store. I've read it cover to cover. You should check it out. It's awesome. We'll be back to our species interviews on Monday, April 20th to kick off ITTW. We're talking Forsten's tortoises with Steven Cifuentes. This is one you do not want to miss. Thanks again, and keep listening, learning, and loving those turtles.